Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to SCB. I'm Ethan. I'm joined with Overtflow. Obviously, he is one of the spearheads for this Happy Punch prelims that are happening. Just want to give quick thoughts on some of the fights that are going on.
Yeah. Quick thoughts on the fight. Obviously, I'm a huge fan of the preliminary fights. Clearly, every major organization in the world, UFC, boxing stuff, all these people put on prelims for their pay-per-view to funnel all the viewers into the pay-per-view, right? That's kind of a big thing. But I think that a lot of these companies do it wrong when they don't have super name guys on the prelims. So for this Happy Punch Misfits collaboration, we really try to get some really well-known names, especially in the hardcore community. Guys like Wings, guys like Boogie are, they were basically Logan Paul and KSI, but 10 years ago, right? Because when I started, when JJ started, when Keem started, Boogie and Wings were like some of the most famous guys on YouTube. So to have them headline the prelim card, I think that if you talk to anybody who's been around for a long time, I know that Harley's here from Epic Mealtime. Obviously, we got all these OG guys in the scene, like even KSI, I believe, came out and said he's most excited for Wings versus Boogie. So to me, I'm super stoked to have Happy Punch be a part of this. We're super grateful for the Misfits, and I'm most excited for that fight. But if we want to talk about Misfits fights, I'm going to say I'm a little bit nervous about Anthony Taylor and Salt Poppy, both Happy Punch boys. I don't want to see either of them lose.
I don't think I do either.
I don't want to see either of them lose. They're both so fun.
It's the thing is I always root for Anthony Taylor because he's so entertaining, and I feel like, especially going up against Idris Virgo, he was the underdog, and that's why I wanted to root for him. And then with Salt Puppy, I want to root for him because he's just fucking amazing.
He doesn't say too much, but it's funny because Anthony Taylor talks a lot, right? I think Salt Poppy does so much more with his body as far as TikTok dancing. He's got some crazy movements going on, the fake run that he's got going on, and then he gets in the ring and he absolutely decimates people. So it's kind of a funny contrast there between the two people. That's clearly one that I'm super excited for. But I have to say this too, Deji and Swarms, also exciting. Both guys that I really like a lot. Obviously, I've known Deji forever. And then KSI and Joe, I feel like those three fights that we just talked about, even the four fights, right? Even Wings and Boogie, even though it's the main of the prelims, I think all four of the fights we just talked about could all headline their own event. Like all four of those. You know what I mean?
I also feel like they all have very different audiences as well. So because I feel like with Joe Fournier, you got that sort of pro crowd around him.
I actually never heard of Joe before KSI. I didn't know. And I follow a lot of combat sports, mainly MMA, but I hadn't heard of Joe before this, but he's doing great, I think. I think it's a great opponent for KSI.
Honestly, obviously, I'm a huge KSI fan, so I always screw whoever KSI's first.
No, I'm in the same boat, bro.
But with me, it's like Joe's such a charismatic guy. It's almost hard to hate him.
Yeah. I didn't know what to expect when I first saw a couple of his first interviews with JJ and they first announced it. But after seeing him around and getting interviewed and being on Twitter Spaces and stuff with him, he is a charismatic guy. So I gotta say, I think that of all the people JJ could have picked, you got a guy with a legitimate record who's also bringing a lot of entertainment to it, right? Because I think that if you look at some of the other pros in the space that he could have fought, they're not as exciting.
Yeah, that's. I mean, obviously, one big contender was everyone was going, Tyron Woodley. But personally, is that Tyron Woodley? I know it feels like he gets named just because he's sort of he feels like a punching bag for the YouTube boxing community. It's like Jake sort of won against him twice, and it feels like whenever there's a pullout, someone always names Tyron Woodley. So it's I'm not personally interested in that. I'm sure some people, especially from MMA community, might be, but I feel like Joe Fournier was the best pick in my opinion.
To me, with Tyron Woodley, he was one of the best welterweight champs of all time in MMA, in the UFC, right? So he's a great guy, a great fighter, but the way that Jake beat him, there's no way for KSI to fight Tyron Woodley and come out looking good unless he sleeps him the same way, right? There's no way to really do that. So it didn't make a lot of sense to me either.
I also don't think there'll ever be another knockout like that in YouTube boxing history, because that knockout was clean. That's when I first was okay, maybe give Jake credit.
Yeah. For sure. And Tyron's a tough guy. People can say whatever they want, MMA champion, whatever, not a boxer, but the fact of the matter is he's an extremely tough guy that went in there, and for Jake to do that really put a stamp on it for me that he's legitimately good at boxing. And I also think as far as KOs go, I think that is probably the greatest KO in YouTube boxing.
Yeah, obviously JJ's against Temper was phenomenal.
Yeah,
I still don't think it tops Jake's against Tyron.
No chance, because that's like a picture perfect, almost like a movie like knockout. You know what I mean? You don't see that. That doesn't happen in real life. So that's how I feel.
Yeah, and obviously, can we ever see you step back into that Misfits ring? Obviously, you went up against Temper on Misfits 003, and obviously, a lot of your fights have a pattern of you're the guy that just steps in just because.
Yeah, for sure.
But do you reckon with a proper training camp, boxing training camp, you would go back into that ring?
Yeah, I'm going to go back into the ring either way. And yeah, I took, two of the hardest guys in the space. I fought them on very, very short notice. So I think that people have a strange idea of exactly what it is that I do or could do. I think that with a full camp, I believe that I'm top 8 in the whole division, in my opinion. I'm black belt in jiu-jitsu. I've been doing combat sports forever. I did a little MMA. Fighting somebody in boxing on 4 days' notice doesn't really bode well for the guy stepping in there. But we had like 5 or 6 other people that all turn it down, and typically I'm the guy who says yes. I like a little bit of entertainment. I'm in it for the entertainment. I only care about if the thing's gonna go viral or what. So this is the entertainment industry, and people get confused thinking that like, oh, I got to be a professional fighter or whatever it is. This is all about entertainment. And as far as I'm concerned, if you look at the views on the fights that I have, they perform extremely well. So I think that with a full camp, I would definitely get in there, and I would get in there on 4 days' notice again. And I have like a lot of really nice, big fat offers. I have nothing signed yet, but yeah, I get a fight offer once a week, bro. It's actually insane. I just want to pick the right guy that's gonna make an entertaining fight. I don't want to fight anybody easy. People say like crazy stuff to me, like fight Andy Worski, and it's like, bro, you really don't know what you're talking about. Like, I'm not gonna get absolutely decimated by Andy Worski, all right? And then people turn around and they say, yo, fight, I don't know, freaking Saul Poppy. They actually offered me Saul Poppy, and I was like, no, thank you. Yeah. I want to fight somebody more around the same level just to get a better gauge of where I'm at for people.
Do you reckon we could see you take on Dillon Danis? You still got I guess Dillon Danis is Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu as well, right? Yeah. So similar backgrounds.
Yeah, he's a legend in Jiu-Jitsu too.
Yeah, I know. He's from what I've seen and heard, he's good, and I don't think people give him enough credit for that because they just see, recent events, and it's sort of like. I feel like I would love to see him step into a ring, though.
Yeah, so, with the whole Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu thing, I think that a lot of people, if you're a fighter, everybody here, no matter what anybody says, like on the internet or whatever, everybody here respects a grappler, right? Every single boxer here is like, dang, that's, like, even JJ came out and said he's never going to do MMA because he sees how those boys train and he knows it gets, intense out there, right? So I think that we got to put respect on people like Anthony Taylor or Josh Bruckner or Sensei or me for doing some MMA, for doing the jiu-jitsu stuff. And as far as Dillon Danis is concerned, he's a legend in the grappling space. I was really hoping that after JJ and him fought, that maybe one of the next events he could showcase how good he is at jiu-jitsu. I'm the only black belt in the space in Brazilian jiu-jitsu. It would only make sense. I only fight big names. I could fight Dillon Danis as a co-main on the next Misfits was kind of the plan. I was talking to everybody about it. I pitched it to Mams. Me and Keem liked the idea. But then obviously Dillon absolutely disappeared from the face of the planet when he was supposed to fight KSI, so that never happened. But I hear rumors he might be back in the space.
He's made a comeback recently. Obviously, he was in the Twitter space with Joe Fournier. Yeah. Don't really think it ended well for him there. And then obviously Misfits put out a tweet of Dillon Danis with a coffee cup as well. So, I sense a comeback coming for him.
100%. I think that he's always going to keep his name in the space. And I hear rumblings, I hear rumors that might be working on something with Dillon in the space. I just been hearing stuff. I don't know what could happen, but I think he's super entertaining. I wish that he would just get in the ring.
So do I. When he just showed up in Misfits 03, causes chaos, leaves.
Super viral.
Yeah.
Super viral.
Everyone was talking about it, So it'd just be nice to see him in the ring for once. And are there more plans for more Happy Punch prelims on Misfits cards?
Yes. So as far as the plans are concerned, I'm not sure entirely all what's public, so I don't know what to say here. But I am going to say, Happy Punch Misfits collaborations are going to keep happening, and you might even see some solo Happy Punch events as well. Maybe we put on some guys there. If they do good, they get on the Misfits big cards.
It would be great to see. Obviously, it's just with me, it feels like right now in influencer boxing, there's 2 guys, and it's Kingpin and Misfits, and I just feel like not more competition, but more guys, to keep the others in check, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Because healthy competition, I guess. So.
Yeah. Healthy competition is good. Wherever you are, whether you are in this space or you have for any league, any sport, it's always good to have multiple leagues because it's healthy for everybody, man. The better one event does, the better we all do. I know that, for example, you could say whatever you want about Jake Paul, but every time he goes out there and wins, it's good for us too because it makes people take the whole YouTube boxing stuff seriously. Every time JJ wins, it elevates everybody. Every time some guy goes viral for some event on a Misfits event, everybody in this space does well. You do better, I do better. Everybody does better from that. So, I forgot the question.
So did I.
Anyways.
More Happy Punch.
Oh yeah, more Happy Punch prelims, but also healthy competition in the space. You got guys like Creator Clash, Kingpin, Misfits, Mogul Moves. What's the other? There's there's a bunch of smaller ones as well.
We're one of them. Small Creator Boxing.
Small Creator
So
Boxing.
we have our event coming up May 27th.
Uh-huh.
We got 9 fights on the. I think it's 9.
I'll be
Wait,
watching. Maybe I'll
thank
make an
you.
appearance there. I'll come
Finn, stop being bored. Do we have 9 fights left, or is it 8? 8 now. Okay. Tis the case.
See, guys like that, and then there's the Influencer Fight League.
Yes.
There's EFC as well. I know that BKFC did some stuff, but all that, getting the influencers involved, all that, it makes people, yes, have options, and you might not get all the fighters you want in certain leagues, but I think it overall makes the space a lot healthier for everybody.
Yeah, exactly. One of the guys we actually do have is part of the COD community on our card, Bad Boy Beamham.
Uh-huh.
He beefs with some of the FaZe boys quite regularly.
Oh, nice.
So I think Santana's his name.
Yeah, Boy
yeah.
Santana.
They go back and forth on Twitter quite a bit.
Bro.
So I'm hoping that one could, hey, if he puts on a good performance on our show, I hope to see him elevated. Get higher up. So
100%. That's how you do it. If you are somebody who wants to fight on a Misfits card, but you don't know how to go about it, you got to fight on SCB. You got to fight in IFL. You got to do this so that people get your name out there more, right? People want to see. You're not just going to get into the space. I get so many people tweeting me every day of them hitting heavy bags or whatever, and I love it. That's amazing, bro. You hit that heavy bag better than me, but you got to get your name out there in the way of nobody's going to pay you $50K just to show up on Misfits one day if you have 1,000 followers. It's just not true. But if you go and you earn that name value through the content that you make, you go fight on SCB, you do this stuff and you put that content out there, that's what's going to earn your name value. That's how you're going to get to the Happy Punch prelims, to the Misfits cards, So, and everybody can do it. You just got to put in the work.
Exactly. And obviously, going to wrap up this interview now. It's wonderful having you over. Yes. Always a pleasure to speak to. SCB 002, May 27th. Make sure you check it out, and I'll see you guys later.
Let's go. Go watch SCB.